Boom. Shaka-laka-laka.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Boom goes the dynamite. Right now it is 0-1 in favor of Heart. Very interesting to note, units lost tab. Look at that, 0 for everything.
Yeah, 0 for everything.
Yeah.
So we will see if whether or not Heart can close out the series here against Polt, a GSL champion, a former GSL champion. And you know, it was actually really interesting because Polt won through TVTs, and he's a very good TVT player, so it's a big win under Heart's belt for now. But TSL Polt, he's looking to come out with a vengeance, man. So we'll have to see what they plan on, especially on maps like Antigua Shipyard, which is very easy to kind of split the map in half if you cover all your bases. So we'll have to see how the dynamics go into the mid and late game.
Yeah, I think TVT, there's the most room, especially in Antigua Shipyard, to do a lot of different things. A big place of contestation is going to be this area over here. It's right outside the natural, right below the third for both of these players. And the reason is because you can see that building is really limited. That isn't exposed to that ledge. So if your opponent is able to get that area, a lot of times expect all your factories, your barracks, stuff like that to be sieged and destroyed. It's really tough to actually hold that. But a little bit of change up. We got a barracks first out for Polt Prime, or TSL Polt, and a gas first out for Heart. So Heart looking to do some sort of early Banshee play, most likely, and really looking forward to that. And I say it's Banshee, it's going to be Cloakless Banshee. Quote me on that, Frodan. Quote me on that.
I'm writing it down right now.
Write it down.
Cloakless
Banshee.
Okay, good. I will cite that in just a couple minutes, but in the meantime, Polt is going to be going for a very economic-minded opening, and you know, it's kind of the whole idea of how are you going to be able to balance your early game defensiveness, because early game Marines are very weak in TVT. People have found different ways to exploit between Hellions, Reapers, Banshees, and so Polt's going to naturally be playing the defensive game, and I'm going to look for him to have a staunch defense just because he's going to be facing up a lot of harassment, especially if his opponent manages to get a good scout on him.
Exactly. Now we do have the SCV from Polt getting in here. He should have recognized that there is a gas first type of opening. That factory is crazy stupid fast. So he's like, okay, I know my opponent's range. Uh-oh. Crap, a second assimilator goes down, or a second refiner goes down. That might screw up a lot of my reads right now. Oh, it might be Cloak Banshees. Dare I say it. It might be Cloak Banshees. But I'm not willing to actually commit. I don't like to commit. I don't like to commit.
Really, man. That's not what a girl wants to hear, Gretorp. And that makes me very disappointed. But we do see that actually he's waiting for something. He's going to definitely list it off.
Yeah.
And the starport does end up going down. And Polt is going to follow it with 2 more barracks. So what do you think about this choice of transition from Polt in response to potential Banshees here?
Me likey long time. He does need an engineering bay, though. That's going to be very instrumental in defending this this particular opening. I don't really like the barracks positioning. I would have loved it if they were over here instead, closer to that refinery. But he has them all the way out here. What this actually does, it makes it a lot harder to put on any add-ons because, you know, you can't put a turret like right here. You can't put a turret right here to defend that. If he was able to shove it near the refinery, he could put a turret right where the barracks were and defend all of his add-ons. So that's one thing I do want to note. But obviously it's going to bite him and ask him, damn it, it's going to Cloak Banshee. I'm pissed off now.
That's
so
okay.
Pissed off.
But one thing that's okay though, Gretorp, is that you actually have the idea that it's Banshees, and Polt's gonna have to play defense because Banshees can they do outrange Marines by 1, so they hypothetically can kite forever with perfect micro. So you have to be able to come down to good control. What is Heart's follow-up gonna be? I would like to see him expand behind this. I don't want him to invest, but he does get Cloak. He is getting Cloak, so is Polt going to be able to deal with it? He doesn't have much energy for any kind of scans as well. He's using all of it for mules immediately, so he's playing pretty greedy, and he doesn't have that strong of an idea. There it is, the scan. I was waiting for him. I was like, he doesn't have any idea what his opponent's doing, but he's scanning, and now he sees everything. He sees the green goo being jutted up and floating all over the place in that tech lab, so he knows Cloak is on the way.
Just to let you know, this timing is actually off. This engineering bay should come just about 20 to 30 seconds faster than it is right now. The first Cloak Banshee, or at least the first Banshee, should be over there, and it should do enough damage that the turrets are going to be very hard to actually pop up. You can see the engineering bay just finishes. Normally turrets are up by the 7-minute mark, but nevertheless, we're going to see this Banshee. This is what I'm talking about. The Cloak is going to get in here and do a ton of damage. Stim is almost finished, though. Or excuse me, Combat Shield is almost finished. That's going to help out quite a bit. He needs to target down the SCVs. I don't know why he's actually going for the Marines. It's a little bit weird, but still going to do plenty of damage.
Yeah, and we do see that this Banshee is actually doing significant damage, actually. It's posting up in a place just outside of this missile turret. And we do see that Stim is also started, scanned from both sides, and the Banshee lives with 2 health, Gretorp.
So close.
That was... I mean, that is a thin line that you are walking there hard, but you know what? He gets it off, and he got 7 kills, and he did manage to force a scan. So in the end, a pretty nice little harass there, and he's expanding. I'm so happy. I'm very happy.
Yeah, he needs continuation harassed out because it's still not enough. You can see the Harvesters are relatively equal, but he has that extra mule to hang on to. So right now, Polt is looking in a real good position, but we'll see how this actually goes to affect it in the long run. As again, the Banshee is doing a little bit of harass here, picking up as many SCVs as possible. No say. But there needs to be more damage. Of course.
Yeah.
More mass damage.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really important for, you know, Polt right now just to really try to stabilize everything he can. But for the most part, he's sitting very, very nicely. He's actually not that far ahead in economy because he doesn't have that many SCVs. And right now, Heart's actually been able to catch up. So just this pressure of, you know, whittling down this SCV count slightly and forcing Polt in a defensive position is good enough for now. And we'll have to see what's actual follow-up transition. He is massing up a lot, but his Banshee does end up decloaking due to lack of energy and is immediately dealt with there.
Okay, so let's go ahead and just take a look at what our opponents are capable of, who is ahead, who's behind, because right now, supplies are very equal. Let's go ahead and talk about the advantages. Right now, we do have Polt that is more in favor of that Marine Marauder. Obviously, that type of composition, you can already see that he's getting medevacs. I actually love his position more than his opponent's. Let's see his opponent right now. He's going more for the Stim, Combat Shield, and Siege Tanks type of opening. You can see that he's not going to have nearly as many medevacs. I think this actually limits him to more of a just taking a third and being a lot more defensive than his opponent, who could potentially all in. Although I highly doubt that Polt will do that. He does favor that economic style, so I'm thinking he will take another expansion, but he can do that a lot easier since he doesn't have that third gas. He has a lot more SCVs allocated towards the mineral matches. Actually, whoa, he's dropped off in the harvest count a little bit more now. But I think Polt in this position, his army composition is looking a lot better because just because he can take map control a lot easier.
Oh yeah, and looks like a scan does manage to pick off another Banshee. A nice little win there in Polt's book. Now again, I'm a little bit apprehensive about why he is falling behind in worker count, but he's still really pushing forward with this time. Keep in mind, he's going to hit right before Stim finishes for Heart, and that's actually going to be a key timing, but every second he waits, there's also another tank that can come out. So Polt's got to hit very, very soon here, Gretorp.
Well, no, I don't think he has to do that right now, Frodan. I think he can actually sit, and this is correct. All he's doing is forcing his opponent to not be aggressive. He's just saying, do not push out. I'm going to do all these things that are really, really threatening. And here you go. He's actually going to do a mass drop. It's going to be enough. There's the first siege tank that's actually going to fire off on the one Marauder, but there's so many units over here. Stim should initiate. There it is. Stim for his opponent just finishes. This is going to be doing so much damage. He needs to back out his units from the right-hand side, but start dishing out damage on that engineering bay. +1 is almost finished, and only 10 seconds of the way to go, but oh my god, he actually stops. Last second, he needs to target that down, and it's going to finish. Yes, it is. Oh, okay, it does finish. And Polt, that was a big mistake.
Yeah, that could have swung things back in different favor, but I don't know, man. I really thought Polt was actually going to try to do some elevator play like we were talking about before, but I understand completely what you were saying. Hart was completely fortified and made sure to contain him, and Polt can capitalize on things like mobility and map control with Bio, but I can't believe he let that upgrade not go. But I mean, he doesn't know how the progress is, and he didn't want his units to die, so it was kind of like a, man, I don't know if that's actually going to be worth it. There's no indications of that upgrade about to finish, so Polt unfortunately lets that finish, and Hart goes with a pretty good advantage.
Yeah, the big problem is there was a trade. I think it actually went in favor of Hart. Let's go ahead and look. Slightly ahead, so maybe it was even. But the big thing is the army composition. That's the big problem. Oh my god, and he's stimming up into his opponent's units now. Combat shield is just about to finish. Looks like a big stim starts up here, but the siege tank count does go towards Hart. That's the big thing. The big engagement that we saw before, it was, what is that? All those Marines and Marauders for what? Just a single siege tank. Not a great trade at that position. He wants to get 3, 4, 5 siege tanks if he wants to trade all of his units. But now Polt is in a lot of trouble because this Doom drop over here, this might do a lot of damage. It forces him back. You can see that off of this, Hart will take amazing position.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. And we do see that Hart having that middle is very important, and he's moving out his siege tanks, and he's moving it very aggressively. He's not doing any kind of leapfrog formation just yet, so he's feeling very confident, and looks like he's just trying to find a small little opening here. He's going to start sieging up just a little bit outside of the natural, and we do see that Gretorp Polt is just moving back here. He's conceding a lot of room right now to Hart.
It's going to be very difficult. That one Banshee doing a lot of work over here, but it's going to finally be taken out. A couple of Marines on the top here, but they unfortunately go into the tank fire. But this is, remember, this is what I was saying in the beginning of the match. This position is the most important position. Oh my god, stimming in. He's going to go directly for the siege tank and then back up. Of course, he goes back to his siege tanks, which are super safe. He has to be careful. This high ground isn't too efficient for actually going down on, but I would love him to start moving over and just starting up a contain in that in this big open area. That's going to cut off the second from the third base, and then he can obviously whittle that down very effectively.
Yeah, so, you know, during this whole time, I think Hart's just content with right now just slowly wailing on the bases. Polt, trying to see if he can fight for some air control, has to be cautious though, because air control starts to become a very big key right now for Hart, especially as you creep onto the high ground ledge of the main base. Polt losing a lot of ground here, but we do see that right now, the way Hart's positioning his units, it looks like he's going to leave his tanks there for just a second, does unsiege, and he's going to start moving forward here.
Yeah, and right now, there's the big stim in. Is it going to be enough, though? There's so many siege tanks in here. The Marines from Hart are actually all disintegrating, and now it's just siege tanks versus Marines, but with good splits. Hart is going to fall, and Polt cleans this up. A very beautiful trade right there, obviously in favor of Polt. And now things will stabilize. Look at that. The supply lead goes over to Polt. He also has 2-2 on the way. That was a critical exchange for him.
He saw the siege tanks were unsieged. He saw them moving up, because the whole idea is Hart unsieged almost all of them except for 1 or 2. And Polt says, this is the time I'm going to go. He didn't regret for 1 second, split his Marines, and was able to really capitalize on it. But Hart is not done with his pushing. He's going to send a medevac to the top of the main, but it's about to run into a turret there. And Hart, all of a sudden, man, he's dropping supply everywhere as only 3 Marines managed to escape. And Polt is looking very good as his third is done, and he's already halfway done with his fourth.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, not going to really do that much. These Marines actually get cleaned up too. Looks like the SEVs, maybe? They're still doing a lot of damage. Holy crap. Finally, the Marines are able to go down after a lot of SEVs were traded over here. And this is what I like. Polt is just flexing a little bit. Now, what he wants to do is just wait until 2-2 until any engagements actually start. 2-2 is just about to hit. Now the big Marine engagement is going to start here. 2-2 just about to be finished. But I think there's well enough to actually clean this up. Polt, oh, actually, maybe not. Take it back. That was the best possible situation for Hart because 2-2 just finishes after the battle cleans up.
Same thing happened, but the tables were reversed, man. Polt was caught out of siege mode, and during that, he sieged in the middle of it, and he just did not have enough damage. Now, it looks like Hart chasing those medevacs, and we'll do see that both players end up trading armies there, but in the end, now it's dead even supplies. Check it out on workers, dead even in workers, Gretorp. And you know what? They're almost dead even in terms of every other unit. The only thing that might be staggering or difference in terms of that is Marine count. We do see that Hart is up in Marines ever so slightly, but with good position, you can always overcome that. Especially a high ground advantage is very, very key on Antigua shipyards.
Honestly, I don't even think the Marine advantage actually helps because it's a 2-2 upgrade over a 1-1. That's pretty
so
big.
true.
Oh, this is not correct, though. Pushing Marines all the way into siege tank fire. Ooh, that was a little bit scary. He's going to back up from there, of course. 3-3 on the way, as opposed to his opponent is starting up the 2-1. So I think Polt obviously has the most gigantic. He has just about 4 to 5 minutes where he has a big advantage on his opponent, seeing that that Hart isn't actually getting his armor upgrade. So forever, these Marines are going to be much better. And I think, you know, as long as he capitalizes on this, meaning, you know, bring your Marines all around, all over the place. Whatever happens, you're going to have a cost-efficient trade as long as you're not going into siege tanks directly. Have those cost-efficient trades, force your opponent to put more resources into those Marines, and then you can start banking your siege tanks really nicely. Big stim is going to come in here. Polt is going to surge forward with the siege tanks being all alone. There's, in the meantime, a huge doom drop, actually. A ton of medevacs are going to drop, a ton of Marines here. Is it going to be enough? That's the big question. He's going to move all the way back. This is going to be a really dicey trade.
Oh, but what's critical is that +3/+3 has been being researched. He does manage to take out one engineering bay. Polt Prime rushing back as fast as he can, but a lot of his siege tanks are clunky, and the second engineering bay gets focused, and that is a great snipe there from Hart, as right now he's taking a very strong position, and he is so careful not to overextend his Marines, going for the factory, going for the starport now, and great amount of damage. And I would like to see Hart be very cautious at this point because he's losing a lot of units, but it's been very effective, and looks like right now Polt will clean up here, but at the end, Polt's main is almost barren at this point. The starport's about to burn down, but the SCVs barely managed to get there. As right now, Polt, despite the fact that he has a base up, his production is significantly lower.
Well, slash that huge 4-minute window timing that he had, that's completely gone at this point. Hart is now at 2-1, where his opponent is at 2-2. So Polt still has a tiny advantage, but it's been mitigated quite a bit. He's taking a 4th base over here. Planetary Fortress actually goes down, so I love that type of play. And again, Hart is reasserting himself in the middle of the map. He played this out so very nicely, but is it going to be enough? That's the big question. Another drop going down to, well, it looks like the bottom left, but I don't even think he knew about this, that was actually coming. He's actually for the 3rd. At this point, he's going to see this this one Planetary Fortress over here, and he's probably just going to drop in the back, I would assume. Nope, he's not going to do anything.
No, yeah, I guess maybe he's going to leave that for now. He's really intent on getting his 4th expansion as he just started another command center. We do see that upgrades have restarted for Polt. He definitely is prioritizing that, starting to remake a lot of his production facilities as well. Although, you know, Polt's been doing a pretty good job here, just making sure that his units will get up in upgrades. But we do see that right now, Hart is also, you know, getting his own upgrades as well. +2 just finished, so he's not terribly far behind, but that one armor upgrade could make the difference. We do see Polt moving towards the center of the map, though, and taking a really strong position. Right now, the siege tank advantage is in favor of Polt, 10-5, which is a 2-to-1 ratio, which is very, very good. So Hart has to make sure never to full out engage these siege tank lines.
Yeah, and look at that. He's actually prepared 3 medevacs worth of units. That's 24 Marines in total inside those medevacs. So he can definitely do another doom drop if he so chooses to. Polt again has a very barren main. He doesn't actually have a lot from there, but he has a lot of production at his natural. That's going to be the key place. So right now, what does Polt do? He does have 3-3 timing on his opponent. That'll help out quite a bit. But, you know, it's kind of tough. He can kind of go around the map, but at this point, when the upgrade advantage isn't so extreme, you will run into a little bit more problems with defending against siege tanks or actually aggressing up on siege tanks. Small drop in the bottom middle. He's going to commence, but it gets cleaned up.
Yeah, now we do see the 4 medevacs that you were pointing out do get loaded up, but Polt Prime sees this, and Hart doesn't even care, man. It's Honey Badger stats. He's just going to go for it, and he's going to drop directly onto Polt's SCV that was making his potential 5th command center. And all of a sudden, Polt is going to go for a massive stim, but there's going to be a lot of Marines doing damage at Gretorp.
Wow. now a big investment in time for those upgrades. It looks like the third upgrade is actually going to be... And Hart, very intelligently this time around, is going to pick up all of his Marines, not lose them, and obviously just get out of there. So a great exchange, basically something for nothing, right? Something for nothing.
Yeah. That is an old hack back in Brood War, so
yeah.
basically we do get the fact that those upgrades will play a huge factor. We're almost 30 minutes in this game, Gretorp, and upgrades are in full force, and that is a huge difference maker, especially when it comes to full out 200 versus 200 battles. And we're gonna have to find out whether or not either player can get positioning. If you're down in upgrades, positioning is the only thing you can do. Plus 3 armor did finish for Polt. That's the one thing Hart didn't manage to snipe. But right now, just like we were saying before, Antigua is a map where you can kind of split halfway, you know, just down the middle. And that's kind of what's happening. Neither player really want to budge from their positions right now.
Yeah, this is definitely a position where nukes become a lot more relevant. And just as I say that, Hart throws down 2 Ghost Academies. And these Ghost Academies obviously out for nuke, for ghosts. You want to remove your opponent's tanks from a particular situation or a particular position. And you can slowly creep up. So I love where Hart is going right now. Because there's a heavy concentration of siege tanks over here. And he can't really do anything because he doesn't have center control.
Yeah. No, that watchtower is basically another group of Vikings in itself, just being able to spot around the map. And we do see that Polt, he's trying to go for a very strong siege tank surround, but man, this has become more and more stalemate. And just like you said, nukes come into play. We do see a big drop here in the bottom left, though. 2 medevacs worth of Marines, and this is what you need to do as Hart to really start picking apart Polt, as he can't really defend this expansion right now.
Man, and that planetary fortress, gosh. It's only 6 range. It should be 7 with that high sec auto track. I'm like the biggest whore for that. Like I love the bunker upgrades and stuff like that. So I always yell at people, "Get the bunker upgrades! They're awesome! +2 armor."
6 slots for your Marines.
I know,
oh. A huge attack here in the top right, though, for Polt, and he's going to take out that planetary fortress rather quickly. So basically, Polt saying, "Okay, you shut down mining in one base, I'll shut down mining and then some for yours." But we do see the center expansion being taken here for Hart, so he can resume production immediately. We do see ghosts and nukes being researched, Gretorp, so right in a couple of minutes we're going to see some amazing nuke plays, and I want to see some really good zoning and some great map control right now based off these nukes.
Zoning is probably one of the most important things, especially in this matchup. If you don't know what zoning is, it's basically taking or denying your opponent position. That's the best I could actually say that. Like right now, we can say that Hart is zoning out the center of the map, making it very hard for your opponent to be mobile, right? And that's exactly what it is. So I think Hart really needs to punish his opponent for actually taking the bottom left-hand expansion, because he has more mobility than his opponent. But Hart should do that. But Polt somehow or another is able to keep that that position. For now, it looks like Marines on the top. Let's go ahead and look at the units tab. 89 to 71, 48 harvesters to 41. I like this the small harvester count right now, but we'll see. Does Hart actually? Excuse me. Where's that nuke?
Oh, I heard it.
Nuke.
Oh,
Money nuke.
It's going to be on a patch of tanks over here. Oh, Polt's not paying attention. He's not unsieging Gretorp. This is going to do damage. And this is a group of 7 tanks that are about to evaporate, as a lot of them do end up going down. And he got the turret too, which is actually very significant. But we do see that Marines do end up picking off a group of units on the right.
I'm sorry, that one ghost actually just targeted down both of those siege tanks. Really cool play. Kind of just funny, in my opinion. But overall, really nice job by Hart. But Hart does have to kind of look for more expansions, because basically what he's saying is, if I lose the center control, I lose the game. And that's obviously not what you want to have happen. You want to diversify yourself a little bit. You can see that Polt is taking the top right-hand corner along with the bottom left-hand corner that he already has had for quite a long time. And all Polt is going to try to do right now is build on his expansion, slowly creep out this center, but hopefully the nukes will deny that. We're going to see.
Oh yeah, well, you know, Hart is pushing out to the top center. Something to keep in mind, Hearts only has one mining base left here, so and Polt somehow managed to get a couple more bases despite not having center control. So Polt doing the best he can right now to hold on to it. Keep in mind, guys, that more nukes are still on the way, and I'm looking forward to seeing Hart utilize them for positioning purposes. A couple tanks did end up dying. Polt can't remax as easily, but it looks like this base in the top center is under siege. Polt immediately lifting off here. Now, there are so many sensor towers which come into play as well because you're trying to get a read of your opponent's army, and I really like the incorporation of them as well. But I don't know, man. We do see a lot of nukes are starting to launch right here, Gretorp.
Bottom left-hand corner, these SCVs aren't actually being pulled away. This could be disastrous, and Polt isn't going to see this. Oh, he does barely. SCV. Oh, poor SCV, man. Just one single SCV dies from that. But a nice job at actually figuring that out. This is going to get out of there. Another nuke is going to go down in the middle over here. So annoying. Scan and thwapped, man. Thwapped like
Yeah,
Batman.
man. That ghost thought he was James Bond, but it ended up being James No One. So we do see that these Vikings are actually still fighting for small positions. I'm actually surprised Polt's still able to pull off expansions despite not having center control here, Gretorp.
That is actually super surprising, and that's actually Heart's doing. I mean, Heart is allowing that kind of stuff to happen. I think, let's go ahead and look at the units tab. 20 siege tanks to 14, that's actually a lot more than I thought this should go. Actually, it's okay. I'll take it. I don't mind it whatsoever. But I think you should be starting to siege up on those bottom left expansions. But just as I say that, it looks like Polt is taking a number out of his opponent's book. And we're going to see a mass drop. Oh my god, he's going to lose 2-3 medevacs? Holy crap.
That was absolutely critical just because he's able to really stall this, and for some reason Polt is still doing it, but he's actually going to try to do it back to his opponent. He does pick up a medevac, and all of a sudden Polt capitalizing on the fact that Hart may have gotten too greedy here, Gretorp.
Dude, that was absolutely insane. It's like, oh, you think that trade was good? Let me show you another trade that you can get. Let me even things up. And that's exactly what he did. Quite unfortunate. In the bottom left-hand side, the Marines are able to pick off that one command center, but the top right-hand command center is mining up really nicely. In the meantime, looks like finally Hart might be able to actually take this out. Oh my god, targeting down the medevacs, and now finally Hart is able to remove that army from that base, but still, Jesus, Hart. That could have gone a lot smoother, of course, but now 136 supply to Hart, 168 to Polt, and Polt is nicely ahead. I don't know how this is happening, man. Let's look at units lost. Slightly advantageous for Polt, actually. Crazy.
Oh, Polt's got a lot of reactor barracks, so he's remaxing on Marines very easily. First nuke is being queued up here, and it looks like that tank will end up dying, so no nuke for him just yet. The most important thing, though, is Hart's actually starting to limit a lot of Polt's expansions. He did kill off the bottom left one, but I like that Polt is immediately dropping mills as fast as he can to mine out base that he can. But he only has one base with no SCVs there, so he doesn't have steady income just yet. And he's still intent on doing just that, expanding to the top center. But again, this is just so big of a stalemate. But we do see that some siege tanks are starting to unsiege here, and Polt, he's moving out a lot of SCVs and a huge force, Marine force in the top right here. Gretorp, might this be the positioning that he's looking for?
Yeah, it might be. Big stim goes up, but there are siege tanks over here for Hart. Hart needs to slowly start closing up on that top right-hand position. For now, it looks like the bottom left-hand position is being mined for Hart. But, oh man, this beautiful siege tank positioning. Now here, all the Marines are going to come crashing down on Hart. Hart actually loses a huge amount of siege tanks and Marines. Wow, great spread. Continues the aggression, and now the supplies are 108 to 160. GG.
Wow.
What the bunk?
Dude, that was a crazy game there, Gretorp. I'm still trying to process, but Hart just had no, he's mined out. I'm trying to look around the map here. He doesn't really have much of economy. He doesn't really have much going on. He's down in supply. He just lost a huge pack of Marines, And I guess maybe he was just waiting for the inevitable flank or something, but Hart tapping out here and Polt winning such a contested game number 2 despite having so many things going up against him, losing upgrades constantly and losing ground, not even getting center control on Antigua. Like, what? He's still able to expand. Polt holding out like a champion and proving that he's got the mettle to compete.
Dude, I don't even know how that actually happened. I don't see any real reason why that actually happened.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, those Marines were huge, gigantic for Polt, but I think he still had a mining base, or rather, Hart still had a mining base. He was getting his second mining base going as well, and he could have concentrated in the top right-hand corner. I think he was just frustrated at that time, but still, really, really tough position for Hart, but that's going to do it. So a 1-1 tie-up in these two players, Polt versus Hart. We're going to moving on to game number 3 after this commercial, ladies and gentlemen. So the continuation will go down after a short break.